This season, the Giants, they play on Christmas Day and before the December holiday. New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby caught up with Big Blue tight end Darren Waller, and now we're going to catch up with Steve for a Christmas edition of Sundays with Serby, where I'm hoping that Steve is going to bring some holiday cheer. Steve, I'm not going to mention any names, but the last time I introduced somebody as being ready to bring the holiday cheer, one of our colleagues, it didn't happen. Are you going to bring the holiday cheer this Sunday?
I'll let you know if I can survive today's Commanders-Jets game. All right?
Yeah.
If I can survive that, it'll be a green light. I'll provide all the cheer you want, but that I have to survive and advance that one first.
You know what? I respect that. I understand to survive in advance and how that might affect your mood for the holiday. Well, hopefully you don't turn into a Grinch. But we're going to get into these questions, Steve. This is Darren Waller's first season in New York, and he's dealt with an injury that had him out for a bit of time this season. How's the tight end liking his time in the Big Apple, and what has this season been like for him emotionally?
Well, he happens to love New York City, and he loves the restaurants, and he loves the culture, and he loves the skyline view of Manhattan that he has. He loves going to Hudson Yards on Friday nights and creating music and singing, and you know, his great-grandfather was Fats Waller, and so that's in his blood. It's in his DNA. He's fortunate in the fact that he has been through so much. He's been to hell and back with his addiction, his drug addiction. Thank God he's come out on the other side, and he's very even-keeled now about the fact that things happen for a reason. He's had the hamstring injury that kind of derailed a dream season that was predicted by many of us, including myself, who drafted him in many fantasy leagues. And I'm thinking of starting him on Christmas Day, by the way. I need your input on that. But he's a guy, football no longer defines Darren Waller. He used to let it define him, and there were times he felt as if he was a failure when he was not doing well, and when people were calling him a drug addict, he would take that personally, and it would crush him. But now he's got Kelsey Plum, his wife, championship Las Vegas Aces wife, who is obviously a tremendous support system for him, and you got to give this guy credit. He makes an impact on so many people's lives through his Darren Waller Foundation. He gives to the homeless. He wants to make the world a better place. And if you can't root for a guy like that, I don't know who you can root for.
Yeah, I don't know who you can root for, and it's really great, inspirational, especially at this time during the holiday season, to hear about the work that Darren Waller is doing that he was able to share with you in this Q&A. But I wanted to ask you about this, Steve. What about expectations for Waller? What does Waller expect from the Christmas Day matchup against the Eagles, and what does he expect his future to be with the G-Men beyond 2023?
Well, he's learned a lot about the New York Giants. He loves the way they treat people. He went out of his way to talk about John Mara, who was always there at practice and shaking the players' hands, very much like his father Wellington was, his Hall of Fame father, Wellington Mara. The Giants do things in a class way, and Waller is happy to be part of it. Now, he's only caught 40 passes this year. He's just back from that nagging injuries, a hamstring that compromised his season. But he believes he can, when given opportunities, he can be the player he was back in 2020 when he caught 107 balls for almost 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns with the Raiders. And the year before that, he caught 90 balls for 1,145 yards. And that's why the Giants traded for him, to be basically their number one receiver for Daniel Jones. And obviously it hasn't worked out for either Waller or for Daniel Jones. But Christmas Day in Philly, he's got Tommy Cutlets throwing him the ball. He's healthy again. And the Giants are trying to undo this tremendous domination that the Eagles have had over them over the last decade. The Eagles have won their last 4. And I would advise Darren Waller not to dress up as Santa, because That doesn't play well in Philadelphia. But, no, the Eagles are struggling, and this is a very, very critical game for the Eagles because they're challenging the Cowboys for the NFC East division title. So they're a little bit shaken confidence-wise. They've got a new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. And, Darren Waller could have a big day catching passes from Tommy Cutlets, who will be under siege from the Eagles' defensive line. Now, Waller, by the way, I asked him, his father was a Giants fan growing up. His mother was a Commanders fan. And both his parents used to call the Eagles pigeons for some reason. So he'll have a little added incentive to bring it the way Darren Waller used to bring it to the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, the kind of guy you want to root for. And for the Giants to have any chance on Christmas Day in Philadelphia, he's going to have to play a big role.
He's going to have to play a big role. You know he's going to want to do that on Christmas Day. I just want to go to one thing before we're finished here, Steve, because you kind of mentioned, you kind of slipped this in here. It really comes up a lot with you about your fantasy team. Did you let Darren Waller know that he's not bringing it for your fantasy team this year? Did you let him know that you were disappointed that he's not giving you enough points this year?
No, I didn't. I thought about it, and if I had, it would have been the very last question or the very last comment. That's not the way you want to start an interview off. But my dilemma, maybe you can help me. I'm still in the playoffs in a couple of leagues.
Okay.
Dalton Schultz or Darren Waller. Who would you play?
Schultz is playing against who this week again?
The Browns.
The Browns. Yeah, Case Keenum in at backup quarterback. Let's ride with Tommy Cutlets and Darren Waller. I'm going to ride with Darren Waller to come through for you. Especially if he just did a Q&A with you. I think he's going to want to come through for you. I think he's going to want to come through.
I agree 100%. I would have hated if you would have said Schultz because I didn't do a Q&A with Schultz. I did one with Waller.
There you go.
And he deserves to be in my lineup. You talked me into it. Right now, I have Schultz in the lineup. I'm switching to Waller. And if it goes wrong, I'm blaming you.
Oh, you don't have to do that. But, just don't do that. Just say, this is my Christmas gift to you. That's what it is. I just gave you a nice Christmas gift. There you go. That's all that's there. I'm giving to you so that your team can give you points and give you some joy on Christmas Eve, no matter how terribly or maybe well the Jets game goes for you this Sunday. We'll see. But what everybody should do for some holiday cheer, check out Steve Serby's Q&A with Giants tight end Darren Waller. It is a good one. I'll be in the MetLife press box tomorrow with Mr. Sunshine Brian Costello. You'll be right there with him, bringing all the holiday cheer for the New York sports fans, particularly the Jets fans. Steve, always a pleasure. Happy holidays. We will talk next week.
Hey, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you. Great working with you. You do a tremendous job trying to make people like me look good, which is not easy, and we all appreciate Dexter Henry.
Thank you. When you work with professionals and legends, it's always smooth sailing. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Dex.